Welcome to Primetime Analysis. I am your host, Victor Onyango. First of all, let me take this opportunity to thank each and every one of you for always supporting us and joining us and watching our videos. I am happy because yesterday we hit 500 subscribers and we are on our journey to hitting 1,000 subscribers. And therefore, if you have not subscribed to this channel, please consider subscribing and hitting that notification bell so that in every time we produce such informative content, you be among the first to be notified. Now, follow the law. This is the advice Ahmednassir Abdulahi has given President William Ruto. In his fiery tweet today, Ahmednassir Abdulahi has stated that the Constitution 2010 is the most powerful antidote to impunity and unchecked executive powers. It taught President Uhuru painful lessons. It will teach President William Ruto painful lessons. It will teach anyone who breaks it painful lessons. Respecting the dictates of the Constitution is a joyous nationalistic act. First of all, we must remember that the three arms of government have separation of powers, and judiciary is supposed to provide checks to both parliament and executive. And parliament is also supposed to give checks and balances to both executive and judiciary. And therefore, if you look at the setup of government that we have right now, parliament seems to have been emasculated by the executive, and therefore it remains dead. The only hope and avenue that Kenyans have for reprieve against an executive that is oppressive and repressive is the judiciary. While we have had opinions that the judiciary is captured, it seems there is some glimmer of hope that Kenyans can derive from the judiciary. Looking at the ruling that was made yesterday about the 50 CASs that President William Ruto appointed, if it is not a ploy, as I have explained earlier, then we must say that thank you to Kenyan judiciary. One of the challenges that President Uhuru Kenyatta went through in the entire 10-year term that he served is that he was at loggerheads continuously with the judiciary. Remember, at the end, he even withheld appointment of judges to the Court of Appeal. The kind of rulings that went against him. And we also remember the "we will revisit" moment that came from William Ruto and also from Uhuru Kenyatta. If you look critically at what Ahmednassir Abdulahi is saying, he is trying to tell the executive to always abide by the law and try in all its responsibilities and actions to follow the dictates of the Constitution 2010. One thing that Kenyans must be proud of is that we have a very progressive constitution that no other country in Africa or even in some Western world can boast of. Having a responsible judiciary can help to cushion Kenyans against oppressive regimes and dictatorship. Now, this advice from Ahmednassir Abdulahi is trying to remind me of some critical court rulings that the government is still waiting for. Remember, we have the Okia Mtata case on the Finance Bill 2023. Okia Mtata has gone to court to argue that the Constitution was abrogated, especially when it comes to development of this Finance Bill 2023. One of the grounds that he has pushed is that there are certain provisions in this bill that touch on the counties, but As it is known, any bill that touches on counties must always pass through Senate. This finance bill did not pass through Senate, but it has some bills that touch directly, some acts that touch directly, some clauses that touch directly on the county operations. And therefore, on this ground, I am made to believe that any competent court can try to declare this bill unconstitutional. And if it is not the entire bill, it will be sections of the bill. Another thing that we also know is that the inclusion of strangers to the cabinet. There was a ruling that was made by Judge Mrima earlier, and the person who went to court on this was Alice Wahome, who is now the cabinet secretary for water. Alice Wahome went to the court to argue against inclusion of NMS Director General into the cabinet. And therefore, the ruling that was made was that cabinet was formed, and therefore the ruling that was made from the courts is that no strangers should be included in the cabinet. That cabinet is formed by president, deputy president, not fewer than 22 cabinets, not fewer than 14 cabinet secretaries, and not more than 22 cabinet secretaries. In this case, the president has gone against this ruling because the government did not even appeal that ruling. And it is also said that in December last year, Attorney General advised the government against including strangers into the cabinet. William Ruto disobeyed this and included Cleopas Malala, Harriet Chagai, Monica Juma, and David Ndii into the cabinet. Now, this begs the question. We know that since William Ruto's inauguration, he has been talking and pontificating all over that he's going to run a government that respects the rule of law. Look at the court order that he has from CS. There was a court order that was delivered during Uhuru administration. Uhuru disregarded it. But when William Ruto came to office, he started to fuata nyayo. If you look again at the ruling about inclusion of strangers into the cabinet, that also was made, and Alice Wahome, who is also a member of the cabinet, was the person who went and litigated this. But at the end of the day, he still disobeyed that court order. And therefore, all I think here is that William Ruto has decided to pick a fight with the judiciary. And just as it was painful for Uhuru Kenyatta in his entire 10-year term, until the time when his election was also nullified, it will also be painful for William Ruto. And one thing that has been evident is that the only savior that has always saved Kenyans against executive, it has never been parliament, but the judiciary. And therefore, as Ahmednassir Abdulahi has talked to William Ruto, let William Ruto obey the law and remain relevant in what the dictates of Constitution 2010 says. I don't know what's your opinion on this. Is Ahmednassir Abdulahi right in advising the government to follow the law? Let's get communicating down in the comment section. And please remember to always subscribe to our channel so that we may grow and have a bigger family. Thank you, and may God bless you. Namaste.